the decision to waive Jerry Tillery?
Yeah, Lindsay, I think there's a point in relationships like this where you got to move on, and it's best for both people to move on, and that's just what happened here. And we'll wish Jerry luck, moving forward in his career.
Is there anything that happened since the trade deadline when you guys would have been able to send Jerry away and maybe get something in return that caused for this decision to happen now?
Yeah, I just think competing visions for the role moving forward, and it just became clear that it wasn't going to be a fit anymore, and that where we're headed as a team wasn't going to be compatible with Jerry and where he's trying to go, and so we felt like it was best to move forward.
Why did you feel like the visions for you guys as a coaching staff and for him were so different?
I think there's probably he probably expects more for himself, and I think that where we're at as a team and what we see, and there's two different places, and that happens sometimes in the NFL, and when you get to that point you got to do what's best for the team and and what's best for the player, and that's what we did here.
Just given the timing of it, obviously Austin goes down, there seemed to be an opportunity for Jerry to take on a bigger role with Austin out. Was that communicated to him? Was that not necessarily the case?
I don't think necessarily the case. I think we felt like we were going to give Bray and Joe G a chance to compete, and where we're at, and we're trying to do with our team on the defensive line, our defense, our whole team, trying to create competition and have guys earn their roles, and that's what we want to be here. That's what we want to do, and like I said, when those things didn't line up, we had to make a change.
You're a first-time head coach, so in this position, but what's it like trying to navigate a relationship when you don't pick up the option on a guy and he's still with the team for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think it's the first time it's happened to me as a head coach, but I know that it happens throughout the NFL. I was with Kyle Fuller in Chicago, who I'm very close with. He had his option declined. Ended up having a fantastic season in 2017, led the NFL in pass breakups and earned a huge extension with the Bears, became a first-team All-Pro on the #1 defense in the NFL. And I think a lot of it's how you approach it, and you try to approach it that way that, hey, when business decisions happen, you're still pouring into each other. You're still trying to, make things work and create a vision for someone's role. So, but again, sometimes it happens like that, and sometimes it happens like this, and at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for your team, and that's what we did.
Just with Joe Gaziano, you mentioned him. He's obviously on the practice squad right now. Do you anticipate signing him to the active roster to replace Jerry? Do you think it would be an elevation situation from the practice squad?
It would probably be an elevation situation, but we've had a good week of practice with both Bray and Joe, and both of those guys have played for us. We know that we can win with both of those guys, play the way that we want to play, and both those guys are great fits for our team.
Well, how come made your original 53 and then went back down to the practice squad? Just how much has he improved throughout the season for you guys?
Yeah, Bray, from the minute I got here, he's improved. And I think that, last year when he got his opportunities, I thought he excelled, in his role. And this year, the same way. And I think that he's improving all the time. And again, he's one of us. And that's important. And he's going to go out there and he's going to play well on Sunday night.
Trey Pipkins is questionable. Is it still going to be sort of a game time decision with him?
Yeah, he was able to get out there and do some practice today, which we wanted to at least get him out there so that he would have a chance to play and see how he feels. So he's definitely questionable game time decision, but I'm proud of the way that he's given himself a chance.
Have you guys decided who's going to start at right tackle if Trey can't go?
Not yet. We have a direction that we're leaning for sure, but we're going to let we've got a lot of time between now and Sunday night, so we're going to kind of use all that time and make a decision before game time.
Is it between Storm and Foster?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And with Chris Rumpf, obviously doubtful, but do you think there's any chance that he'll be able to go?
I think there's a chance. I think we wanted to get him out here at practice. He's progressed well. Get him out in an individual basis and kind of be there for us maybe in an emergency.
Seeing him practice and stuff, what has Sorrell done to kind of warrant a further look from you guys?
Yeah, he's got size. He's got position flex. I think he's really improved outside. And I think since we got him, it's been really a pleasant surprise for us. And I think he's improved a lot. He was able to get a lot of work in camp and training camp, a lot of opportunities, and we just feel like he's getting better. So we'll see where it goes, but we're glad we have him.
Where is Keenan
day to day, trending much better than last week for sure in the Atlanta game, and so feel confident in his progress. And again, we'll let you know when he gets back to practice.
What about Mike Williams' progress?
Positive, Lindsay. I think there's a strong chance that he'll be back in practice in some capacity next week, and he's progressing well.
When you're preparing for a defense like the 49ers and you're not going to have your top two receivers, and it sounds like it's kind of obvious, so what kind of a special challenge is that?
Well, it's a great opportunity, and I think you got to go into every game, and all these games are different. You go in with your group of guys, and you got to figure out how to win. You got to figure out how to make it work. So, I think those type of challenges as coaches and players, you love those challenges to go compete against great competition. And we believe in our guys. We've had to win a lot of different ways this year, and this week will be no exception. And you got to really believe that each week has a life of its own. And this week is certainly no exception.
You discussed during practice on Wednesday changing up practice in terms of tempo and maybe team drills earlier. Just what did you think of putting in those changes?
Yeah, it just gets us off to a different start, and guys have to be ready for teams sooner. But I just think little things like that for all of us, just keeping things fresh, but also putting the focus where you want it to be, which is starting fast and trying to do little things to make that happen.
You guys have 4 games in a row you've fallen behind early. What does that do in terms of just offense? I mentioned maybe like take away some of the stuff you can do and just kind of makes it more difficult, obviously, when you're for everybody.
Yeah, I think it speaks a lot about our team not giving up and being down early and being able to fight back and continue to kind of execute throughout the game. And ideally, it's not an ideal situation. You want to be up early, and that's kind of where we found ourselves. And so we have to continue to execute. We have to do better and on offense of getting the first down, of just getting the ball moving and converting on third downs. But I think it shows great fight by our team.
Is there anything offensively that you could put your finger on as to why maybe you haven't been as effective in the first quarters the last month or so?
I think you take a look at the last game, and I think we only had maybe 4 or 5 plays in the first quarter, and so it's going to be tough to be able to put up points with a small amount of plays like that. We have to be able to convert on third down. We have to limit turnovers and do all these things that we're able to convert on third down, get first downs, and be able to move the ball because that all leads to it.
Justin, what was your reaction to the team's decision to waive Jerry Tillery?
I wish nothing but the best for Jerry. Him and I were good friends, and it's an unfortunate circumstance, but that's a Coach Staley decision. Those guys in the front office make that decision, so that's probably a better question for them.
Brandon talked about switching tempo up in practice and everything to try to get better starts this week. Just anything you notice different?
I think it's just important to get out there and execute and to know that the first drive is one of the most important, is going out there and getting that first down and getting the ball moving. And as soon as you feel like that, you can do that, you get more comfortable out there. And I think that's a big part of our offense, of just going out there and trying to get that first down. And it's something that we haven't done a great job of, but I know that we're going to continue to work and continue to get better at it.
What do you see from the 49ers defense on film?
They're a very well-coached team. They've got a lot of athletic, very skilled guys on defense. They fly around, and they play really good defense, so it'll be a challenge for us.
What kind of challenge specifically is Nick Bosa?
He's very tough to block. He's a guy that you have to be aware of out there, and so it'll take a good protection plan going into the game to have a chance at it.
Is he different from Joey in any way, shape, or form? They wear the same number. They work out together.
I haven't met him, so I don't know personally, quite what he's like. I know he's an incredible competitor, and I know he's, a tough guy to block out there. And Joey and him definitely share those characteristics, but I'd have to get to know him better to make anything like that.
Is there any sense of what kind of game this might be on Sunday, like with the 49ers offense and the kind of weapons they have? And obviously what you guys will try to do to keep up with them matching points. Like it'll be a track meet. You think it's going to be like a defensive showdown? What are you expecting?
I try to avoid making predictions like that. I think it's important for us to go out there and do the best that we can. I haven't spent too much time in the defensive meeting rooms, and we're doing our best to have a good protection plan, to have a good run game, pass protection plan, all those things that are important to an offense. And so I know that if we can take care of that, I know that we can play pretty good football, but it's up to us to execute and continue to get those first downs like we mentioned.
Is there any way to become more familiar, more comfortable with the fact that you've had such an evolving group of guys available this season, like with Keenan being in and out, with Mike being out now maybe for a couple weeks? Does it ever become easier, I guess, as the quarterback to look and have a different arsenal of guys who may or may not be available?
I think the great thing that we've done so far this year is that we've been able to get reps with all of those receivers, and they've done all a great job of stepping up and stepping into their roles. And even guys like Jason Moore, Michael Bandy, DeAndre Carter, they've stepped up into big-time roles, and we've been able to get them the ball. And we'd love to be able to put up more points and continue to execute at a high pace like that. But those guys have done a great job stepping up, and we feel really comfortable with those guys out there.
Have you noticed more intermediate to long shots open up against Atlanta last week? Because you had the one long one to Palmer. It seemed like with you guys going short to intermediate most of the time, a few of those chunk plays were able to open up for you.
Yeah, I think it's important, for an offense each week is to be able to take those shots downfield. Defense have done a good job of covering those downfield, and so we've been able to, kind of attack underneath. But as long as we're able to attack downfield, I think it opens up a huge part of our offense, and so that's definitely something that we've definitely looked at this week.
How much, though, has the evolving with receivers kind of limited what you can do in terms of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think for the most part, those guys have done a great job of competing and battling, and we trust, Josh Palmer, Jason Moore, all those guys going downfield and competing for balls like that. And, it hasn't gone our way all the time, but I know that I trust those guys, and I'm going to be able to push the ball downfield for those guys to go make something happen.
Brandon mentioned after the Falcons game that you guys were able to, activate some more of the bootleg game, naked games, some pocket movement stuff, as compared to maybe in the weeks after the injury. Just how much closer to the offense that you guys were envisioning was that Falcons plan from just sort of moving you around, getting you outside the pocket, maybe implementing some of the pocket movement stuff?
Yeah, I think that would probably be a better question for Coach Lombardi. I don't know exactly what their plan was to activate or not activate. I feel great and I feel better, and things have gotten better since the injury. So I feel like I've been able to escape, scramble, a few weeks ago, and so I think that's probably a question for them to talk about more about.
What does Austin Eckler mean to this offense?
He's a huge part of it. He's so tough out of the backfield, and to be able to catch passes like that as well adds a whole nother dimension to our offense.
How would you describe his personality?
Competitive. He's a competitor, and he wants to be the best, and we really appreciate that from him, and we know that no one's going to work harder than him out there, and it definitely shows on the field.
Spiller and Sony got some consistent carries for you last week and some good yards. Just was it feel like to add some depth to the running game?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Just Spiller and Sony got a couple of huge carries for you last week. It looked like the run game with them two opened up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. And to have guys like that are able to step up and fill a role for Austin Eckler is huge because, as much as we want Eck to be out there every single play, it's tough as a running back. And to have a guy like Sony, Isaiah, Larry, they've all done a great job. And we trust those guys in protection, running routes, and they've all done a great job. So it was really good to see from them.